Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Nathan Maddox and Kristen Westfall? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Nathan Maddox was born on October 5, 1979, in Kirbyville, Texas, which is about 2 hours northeast of Houston. He was a petty criminal for a while before getting addicted to drugs. After that, he graduated to burglary and found himself in prison for 4 years. When he was released, he became a carpenter. Nathan met a woman named Kristen Westfall, and they became romantically involved. They married in April 2006 and had a daughter named Madison in 2009. The relationship between Nathan and Kristen fell apart over time. He went to Montana for a while to work. When he returned in January of 2011, he found that Kristen accused him of abandonment. She moved out of the residence and in with her parents, Paul and Letha. The Westfall family lived in Colmsneil, Texas, in Tyler County. Kristen took Madison with her and in June of 2012 was awarded full custody. In August 2012, Kristen and Nathan divorced. Prior to the divorce being finalized, Nathan had already found a new love interest. He reconnected with an old friend named Crystal, who was a divorced mother of 4. They married on September 22, 2012, and moved to the town of Zavala, Texas, only about 20 miles from the Westfall residence. In August 2013, Kristen Westfall was arrested for possession of methamphetamine. Madison was placed into the temporary custody of Kristen's parents, who refused to let Nathan see her. Nathan wanted more time with his daughter. He worked extra shifts to raise money to hire an attorney. His efforts paid off. In December of 2013, Nathan was granted supervised visitation. The Westfalls wanted the visits to happen at the Mount Carmel Baptist Church, about a mile from their home. Nathan would see his daughter there every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On January 18, 2014, Nathan and Crystal arrived at the Mount Carmel Baptist Church for the regularly scheduled visit with Madison. Kristen's mother, Letha, had brought Madison to the church. A woman named Marie Winters had volunteered to supervise. At about 12:15 p.m., Letha called 911 and reported that shots had been fired. When the police arrived, they found that Nathan and Crystal had been shot to death just outside the entrance of the church. Letha, Marie, and Madison were inside the church and unharmed. Here's what the police found during their investigation. When Nathan and Crystal were exiting the church after the visit was over, Crystal was shot in the head with a rifle chambered in .30-30 Winchester. A second shooter used a 20-gauge shotgun to shoot Nathan one time in the hip. The first shooter, the one with the rifle, then shot Nathan in the head. Nothing was taken from either victim. A witness stopped by the crime scene and told the police that a black pickup truck had been parked not far from the church. The police were able to identify the truck as belonging to Kristen's father, Paul Westfall. When the police went to talk to Paul, he had a seizure and was taken to the hospital. They interviewed Kristen, Letha, and Kristen's brother Cameron, who also lived in the Westfall family home. Everyone denied involvement in the murder. Kristen said that she was with her father in the morning checking coyote traps. They purchased fuel at a gas station before returning home at 11 a.m. When Paul recovered from the seizure, he told the police the same thing. Investigators learned that the visit at the church was the last one that was required to be supervised. After that, Nathan would have been able to take Madison home for the visit. Furthermore, the custody battle was moving in Nathan's favor. He appeared to be on the road to full custody. The police had a feeling that the Westfall family was involved in the murders. Their suspicions were confirmed when they collected cell phone data. They found a massive conspiracy fully documented through text messages. For example, on the day of the murders at 9:04 a.m., Letha sent a text message to her daughter Kristen, which read, quote, "They are here," unquote. At 11:09 a.m., she sent a message that read, quote, "Get in place," unquote. From the messages, it was clear that Paul and Kristen were the shooters. Their plan was almost disrupted by people who were mowing the grass at the church. Letha allowed the visit to run a few minutes past noon, hoping the people mowing the grass would leave. When they did, Paul and Kristen ambushed Nathan and Crystal. Paul had the rifle, and Kristen had the shotgun. Investigators also discovered that Kristen's brother Cameron had been part of the text messaging. On March 11, 2014, the police pulled over a vehicle containing Paul, Letha, Kristen, and Cameron. The vehicle pulled into the same church where the murders occurred, so the family was arrested where the victims died. It didn't take long before Paul confessed to the murders. Cameron admitted that he helped dispose of the guns. Paul, Letha, and Kristen were charged with capital murder. Cameron was charged with tampering with physical evidence. On May 12, 2016, Cameron pleaded guilty to 2 counts of third-degree tampering with physical evidence. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. 12 days later, on May 24, Letha pleaded guilty to capital murder. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. She is eligible to be released in 2046 when she is 86 years old. In August of 2016, Kristen took her case to trial. She claimed that Cameron was the killer and that she was asleep the whole time. On August 18, she was found guilty of 2 counts of capital murder. Her sentence was life in prison without the possibility of parole. Paul Westfall would receive the same sentence on May 19, 2017, after pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1, there isn't really any doubt about the guilt of the Westfall family members. The only one who didn't plead guilty was Kristen, and there was plenty of evidence against her. The text messages between her and her mother coordinating the attack were very damaging. In addition, Kristen was the only person who really had any motive to commit the murders. Item number 2, the Westfall conspiracy was haphazard and poorly planned. They used text messages to organize the murders. Paul, Letha, and Kristen pretty much guaranteed themselves life in prison. In addition, they actually asked someone else to kill Nathan and openly talked about their desire to have him murdered in front of other people. They might as well have announced their plans to the entire world. Item number 3, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Kristen Westfall and her parents had a sense of entitlement. The family dynamic was closed off to the outside world. They were enmeshed with each other and did not have a lot of outside influences. When Kristen was arrested for using methamphetamine, her parents should have been disappointed in her, but they were not willing to admit that she may have a problem. They did not want their perfect image of her to be shattered. Kristen may have attributed her alleged drug use to the custody dispute with Nathan. Her parents accepted this excuse and placed all their anger, frustration, and disappointment onto Nathan. He became a safe target for their aggression. They could not confront Kristen or think less of her, but they could hate Nathan all they wanted. Everything that Nathan did fed into this idea that he was evil and dragging the family down. Kristen may have even made an effort to portray Nathan as a monster who wanted to destroy the entire Westfall family. She could have represented him as a powerful enemy who was trying to steal Madison. Kristen's parents didn't question this because they had a sense of entitlement. They believed that Madison should stay with them. From their point of view, Nathan's rights didn't matter. Just over 3 months before the murder, Nathan came over to the Westfall family home to pick up Madison. This led to a physical altercation between Nathan and Paul. Nathan prevailed in this confrontation, and Paul was embarrassed. He retrieved his rifle and threatened to shoot Nathan in the head. Paul promised Nathan that he would do this someday. Now Paul had a motive separate from Kristen's motive. He wanted revenge for the embarrassment. His desire to kill Nathan became somewhat independent. Two people in the family were working toward the same homicidal goal from different perspectives. The family started looking for people who would murder Nathan, but no one was interested. They did not have the insight to recognize how this would be perceived. They just assumed that others would be happy to carry out a homicide. Paul became frustrated and decided to personally carry out the murder. Paul, Letha, and Kristen decided to murder both Nathan and Crystal. They could have targeted only Nathan, but the family also hated Crystal. She had supported Nathan the entire time. Crystal even recorded Paul and Letha with her cell phone during confrontations when they were trying to deny Nathan visitation. Letha joined in because she wanted to be loyal to her husband and to her daughter. Cameron discussed the plans with his family members, probably out of loyalty to his father. He really didn't have much of a motive to be involved. As the Westfall family contemplated the murders, Paul realized that he could easily shoot and kill both Nathan and Crystal with his rifle from a distance. But this is not what he wanted. Paul wanted to murder Nathan at close range so Nathan could see him do it. He desperately wanted to fulfill his promise to shoot Nathan in the head. Nathan's death was not enough. Paul wanted Nathan to know that he was victorious. Kristen did not need to be at the murder scene, but she also wanted to get revenge in person. Rather than helping to establish an alibi for her father or playing some other part, Kristen decided to be a shooter. Paul, Kristen, and Letha followed through with the murders. Paul was able to taunt Nathan right before he shot him in the head, reminding Nathan of the promise made during their earlier confrontation. Paul was so happy with his handiwork that he confessed to the police. He wanted people to know that he was the one who killed Nathan and Crystal. Kristen wasn't as eager to spend her life in prison. She falsely accused her brother Cameron in an effort to avoid responsibility. Cameron disposed of the guns, but he was not a shooter. Kristen didn't care about the truth. She was only interested in protecting herself. She did not enter the conspiracy with her family because she cared about her family members. She joined the conspiracy in order to satisfy her own objectives. This was always about Kristen and what she wanted. It was never about family loyalty. Kristen would not have cared if all her family members were in prison if she could have been set free. They were just objects like everyone else. Kristen was completely self-centered. Now moving to my final thoughts. Some people feel sorry for Kristen's parents, believing that Kristen manipulated them into the homicidal plot. But I think her parents are fully responsible for their behavior. Kristen's parents should have immediately reported Kristen to the police when she brought up the idea of killing Nathan and Crystal. Instead, they encouraged her antisocial behavior and assisted her in the murders. They failed to set any boundaries whatsoever. Kristen and her parents both put the fall in the Westfall family name and deserve the same fate. Those are my thoughts on the case of Nathan Maddox and Kristen Westfall. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.